Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to solve inverse problems using physics informed neural networks. Especially, we will focus on Burgers equation in today's tutorial. Before we jump into the main code, let's first understand what an inverse problem is. Consider this Burgers equation, which is a very popular equation in nonlinear wave propagation and fluid dynamics. In a forward problem, we are given all necessary conditions like the governing differential equation itself, the initial and boundary conditions, and there are no unknown constants within this governing differential equation. This is how a forward problem looks like. Given this complete information, our objective is to evaluate u of x comma t, the main solution for this governing differential equation. In an inverse problem, this situation is reversed. We don't know the value of this nu. So we will also have to evaluate this nu along with this u of x comma t. So in an inverse problem, we will have to find out these both in one go. In order to find out this new unknown constants, we will be given some observed data of u of x comma t at some specific points within the domain. Generally, in many cases, this data comes from the experiments or sensors. This is how the inverse problem looks like actually. In simple, inverse problem simply means there are some unknown constants within this governing differential equation. Along with the main solution, we will also have to find out this unknown constants that are in this governing differential equations. The main challenge in this inverse problems are these inverse problems are many a times are ill posed, which means any small errors in the observed data can lead to large errors in the estimated parameters actually. This is one major challenge in solving these inverse problems. Traditionally, we solve this inverse problems using optimization based parameter estimation techniques or Bayesian inference techniques, etc. However, these methods, optimization or Bayesian, etc., these methods require large amount of data, and these methods often fail when the data is sparse or noisy. This is where the physics informed neural networks will come into picture. PINNs leverage the power of deep learning while embedding the main governing differential equation, the boundary conditions, and the data that we got from the experiments or sensors, we into this one unified loss function, and we evaluate the main solution u of x comma t and the nu in one go. This ensures that our solution remains physically consistent with the main Burgers equation. So in this tutorial, we will train a PINN model to solve Burgers equation and infer the unknown viscosity parameter from the observed data. Here I have given a lot of notes on understanding about the inverse problems and the differences between the forward and inverse problems, etc. So if you are interested, please go through these notes and get the complete picture on the application of physics informed neural networks for solving inverse problems. Let's jump into the main code. As I said, this is our main Burgers equation. Here we have two unknowns. They are u of x comma t and nu. The reference data used in this tutorial can be obtained from this link, and this basically I got it from the deepxt documentation. You can download the data from this link actually. You will get a .npz file which you will have to load it into this Python framework in order to access the data in that npz file. Considering this particular observed data, we expect the new value to be 0.01 divided by pi. So we have to find out this new value, and the expected value for this new is 0.01 divided by pi. In this tutorial, we are not going to use any special library for formulating the physics informed neural networks such as deepxt or any other thing. We will just use the basic PyTorch library, and we will build this and we will build this physics informed neural network from scratch. Here we are importing some key libraries like Torch, TorchNN, Torch Optim, and NumPy and Matplotlib library. Here I'm making some plot settings for a better visualization purpose. And here I'm loading the data that I downloaded from the deepxt repository. That is burgers.npz file, which I saved in this current directory, and I load it here using this numpy load function. Okay. So here within this data, we have three key variables, that is t, x, and usol. Usol is our velocity solution at x comma t, and t represents the time, x represents the spatial coordinate. Here I am combining this x, t into a mesh grid, meaning previously we have this x and t separately. Here using this mesh grid, we are converting this individual x comma t into a unique coordinate to form a rectangular domain like this, right? The x-axis represents x and the vertical represents time. So at any point we have a x comma t coordinate. So in this mesh grid, we are doing this. We are converting the individual x and individual t into a single coordinate point. And here I am plotting this contour plot. So the maximum and minimum values of this contour plot are minus 0.832, 0.832. So we expect that our PINN solution should also match with this reference solution. When you are formulating the physics informed neural network from scratch, the main thing in any neural network is formulating this loss function. Not only in this physics informed neural networks, if you take any neural network in general, our key objective is to formulate the loss function. So just like that, here in this problem also, we have to formulate our own loss function. So generally, our loss function involves four key terms actually, of which the first three that comes from the main physics, and the last one comes from the data. So the first one is the main governing differential equation, that is this, and the second one is the initial condition, and the third one is the boundary condition, and the fourth one is the data loss. If you look at here, this is our governing differential equation. Here instead of u, I'm using unn. Here nn represents the neural network solution function. Okay, so when we put this neural network solution function into this equation as a solution, so we expect the residual, that is if you take this one LHS and this one is RHS, if you take this one LHS minus RHS, so we expect that solution to be 0. In many cases this may not be equals to 0, but we will get a value that is very close to 0. So, and we evaluate this differential equation at many points actually. So these points are called collocation points. Collocation points. We have to assume a set of collocation points within the domain. So this is our domain, right? It starts from -1 to +1 and 0 to 1. So here this is t and this is x. So we will assume a set of x coordinates and a set of time coordinates from -1 to 1 and 0 to 1. So we will evaluate this main PD at every point inside this domain, and we will get the residual at each point actually, and then we will square it and we will sum all the values at each and every point actually, such that we will get the total loss from this partial differential equation. Next, after formulating this PDE loss function, we will have to formulate a separate term, loss term, for this initial condition. So here, this is our initial condition. So initial condition means this exists only at time t is equals to 0. In this junction, our solution should match with this minus sine pi x. Similarly, we will assume a set of points across this initial condition domain, and then we will evaluate the solution value at each and every point, and then we will compare it with the solution value, that is minus sine pi x. This is our original initial condition, right? And then we will take a difference, and then we will take a square, and then we will sum all of these values to get this initial condition loss. Similarly, we evaluate this boundary condition loss, and also in the same way we evaluate this data loss. Data loss is simple because in the observed data we have x comma t values and corresponding useful values, right? So we will take these values and we will put them in the neural network solution, and we will get some UNN, and we will compare these two to formulate the loss from this data. Once we evaluate the losses from all the PDE, initial condition, boundary condition, and data, we will sum all of this to form this total loss value. In a normal neural network, we generally have weights and biases as the main unknowns that we will estimate using optimization. In this inverse problem, we now also have this additional unknown, this new viscosity parameter. We will also have to estimate this just like the way we estimate this weights and biases. We will also estimate this unknown parameter. Here alpha represents the learning rate for these weights and biases, and this beta represents the learning rate for this new. Here I am initializing the collocation points. Here I am converting the collocation points into numpy arrays because these are good for plotting. So just for the sake of this plotting purpose, I am converting this tensors into numpy arrays actually. So here, if you look at here, these blue points represents the domain points, green points represents the initial condition points, and this red and this orange points represents this boundary condition points at the left and the right boundary conditions locations. Here I am initializing a normal neural network. Okay, one key thing to notice is, so in this neural network we have two main sets of variables. They are called weights and biases. These are the primary unknowns within the neural network. Along with that, we are adding a new parameter, new, as an additional parameter actually. This we are putting it as a extra parameter for this neural network function. So in this problem, we have weights, biases, and new. So total three parameters we have. So this one is a set and this one is a set. So depending upon the neurons and their connections, so this there are many weights, and similarly for each hidden layer there will be a one bias, and for the entire neural network we have one new value, and this is also a trainable parameter. Okay, so in this total neural network we have these three parameters, and we need to find them using the loss function that we just formulated. Here I'm defining the forward pass. As I said, so here we have formulated the loss functions, right? Here we have formulated the main PDE loss, initial condition loss, boundary condition loss, and the data loss. Here I am coding them. Here in this function I'm evaluating the PDE residual. So this function takes x, t, model, and new value. Here I am initializing this new value with a 0.01, but you can leave it as a unknown. That's not a problem. So here I am setting this x and t to requires grad support, and this enables the automatic differentiation process. And here I am using the PyTorch's autograd function to evaluate the derivatives of velocity with respect to t, x, and the double derivative. Here we evaluated the dou u by dou t. Here we evaluated dou u by dou x, and here we evaluated dou square u by dou x square. And combining all these things, we get the total residual, and we are returning that residual from this function. And similarly, we have evaluated the initial conditional, and we have evaluated the boundary condition values here actually. And here I am creating some training data in between 0 and 1. I have created some 200 points, and for time I have created some 100 points between 0 and 1. Okay, and here like I did before, we are we are creating a mesh grid, and then this is the data that we got from the reference, and that I'm loading into these variables x data, t data, and u data. Okay, here I'm initializing this model as PINN. Ideally this should be IPIN, inverse physics informed neural network, but I'm calling it as normal PINN. And here we are setting up the Adam optimizer. Here I'm not specifying a special learning rate for new. I'm using this default learning rate that is applicable for weights and biases. Here I'm taking the same value for the new parameter as well. A total of 12,000 epochs I'm using actually. So here I am creating this epoch for loop. So it will loop for each epoch, and in each loop it will do several operations. Like here we set the training mode, and then here we evaluate the initial condition loss. So this is our prediction, and this is our true initial condition. And similarly here we evaluate the boundary condition loss. Here we evaluate the loss PDE using the functions. So here I'm using the PDE residual function. Here I'm using the boundary condition function, and here I am using the initial condition function. So using these functions, I have evaluated the individual loss components that corresponds to initial conditions, boundary conditions, and PDE and data to formulate this total loss. If you look at here, I have given a 100 value before this loss data, it means I am indirectly stating like this data loss is very important and this should be completely satisfied. So that is an extra constraint that we are putting actually, and that additional weightage, the importance I'm giving through this 100 value. It can be any number, but just as you increase the value relatively, here 1, right, here 1, here 1, but here 100, meaning so compare it to these three values, and this value is very important and its satisfaction is absolutely necessary. Here I am setting up this backpropagation parameters. So at the end of every 500th epoch, I'm printing these values, the total loss and the new value at the end of this 500th iteration. So overall, at the end of 12,000 iteration, this is the loss that we have got 0.002017, and the new value that you have got is 0.003289. Okay, so these are our final values, and let's use this neural network model and plot the main solution actually. So here I am initializing some test data for the x and the t, and I am putting the neural network in the evaluation mode, and then I am plotting the contour plot. So if you plot it here, this is our solution of Burgers equation using PINN. So the minimum value is 0.832 and the maximum value is same 0.832. Okay, and our reference solution also has minimum value minus 0.832, maximum value 0.832. So overall these are same actually. We did not see a major difference between the PIN prediction and the reference solution. Here, just for easy comparison purpose, I'm just putting these two plots side by side. So you can see the color variation in this contour plots side by side, and let's look at the value of new that we have got. So this model dot new dot item will give us the new parameter value, that is this new learned. After the complete training, this is our final new value that is used in solving this governing differential equation. Okay, but this new reference in this Burger solution is 0.01 divided by pi. So when we evaluate it, we have got a final value of how much? 0.003289, and that value is almost 96.68% accurate with respect to this reference value. So overall the error that we have observed is 3.32%. So in many inverse problems, maintaining at least this much accuracy is very critical. You have to use some advanced techniques to get the main solution and the accuracy with this reference parameters. Next, for research publication purpose, so when you want to publish this kind of work in your research publications or thesis, it's always good to present this kind of line plots actually. These line plots are evaluated at specific time instances. For example, this time started from 0 to 1, right? So if you take a value 0.25, the line is very off, not straight, just excuse me. So if you take the t value is equals to 0.25, and the variation of u of x comma t from -1 to +1 looks like this. Similarly, at time t is equals to 0.5, the u solution varies like this, and the PIN solution and the reference solution matches very closely in both these two situations. Similarly, at a time t is equals to 0.75, also PIN solution matches very closely with this reference solution, but we have some slight deviations here, but these are fine, not big difference. So this is how we will solve inverse problems using physics informed neural networks. The main key is simple. Along with the x comma t, you also have a special parameter which you need to find out along with this main solution. That's it. So in order to find out this additional parameter, we need some external loss constraints that we get from the experimental data mainly, or some other census data or some other means. Analytical data is also fine, but anyway we need some extra data to constrain this new value. So that is the key learning that you have to understand in solving this inverse problems using this physics informed neural networks. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section. See you in the next tutorial. Thank you. Happy learning.